Everybody got something. Yeah. Everyone shout. Hey. Just speak a little loud. Okay. Running. Oh, it's because I had this friend in Seattle who loves Lee Camp. Yeah, sends videos every other day. I get another one. Look, he's got another one. I'm like, Richard, I know I subscribe.
I got it covered.
Yeah, wait till I send him this. He's going to be like, oh, so jealous.
Richard?
Richard, yeah.
Hey, Richard.
Richard Paul. Thank you. You're such a good sport.
My name's Natasha Leonard. I'm the writer of Salon.com. I'm going to be co-moderating with Matt Sledge from Huffington Post. And let's get rolling. I'm going to introduce our first panelists who are going to focus on the legislation and the legal effort that's been ongoing since Mr. Hedges first filed in early 2012.
Why were you, so scared by this law to start this lawsuit?
Well,
why do you think you might get picked up someday?
The origins of the lawsuit come from Carl and Bruce, who needed to find a credible plaintiff who had standing. Because I was a foreign correspondent for 20 years, 7 of those years in the Middle East, I spent significant amounts of time with groups and individuals that have been deemed to be terrorist organizations or terrorists themselves. We went through the State Department terrorism list, and in fact I've been with 17 different groups, including Al-Qaeda. And there's no exemption in this provision, Section 1021, for journalists. I covered the conflicts in Central America in the early 1980s. I was there for 5 years in El Salvador and Nicaragua, and traveled frequently with the FMLN rebels as well as the Sandinistas. And the rhetoric of the Reagan administration was that they made very little distinction between the journalists who went out and reported on the atrocities that were being carried out by the death squads and the military forces in El Salvador or the Contras in Nicaragua. They regularly lambasted us not only as fifth columnists, but as an integral part of the terrorist apparatus that they were trying to fight. And so I've already seen the rhetoric. I know that it's there. But what this does is a quantum leap from a linguistic condemnation to a legal condemnation. And so, having spent time with groups like Hamas or Hezbollah, and having reported their viewpoints, the statute is so broad that any government official, and I can go back to my experience in Central America, could check that box off and name me as a member of this group, in which case, under this provision, and it is law now, by the way, because although Judge Forrest issued an injunction, the government attorneys went to her the day that she issued the ruling and asked for a stay, a temporary stay, meaning put the law back into effect until the appellate court hears the case. Now, Carl and Bruce and I and the other plaintiffs expected an appeal. What we didn't expect was an aggressive appeal. And when Judge Forrest did not cave to the government's pressure, they demanded an emergency hearing, this was on a Friday, at 9 a.m. Monday morning at the appellate court to put the law back into effect. And I think it's fair to suppose that the reason that they needed the law put back into effect immediately is because they're already using it. And you have to ask why. Why is there steady assault stripping away of our most cherished civil liberties? What's happening? And what's happening is that the corporate state, which is, to use a business term, harvesting the nation, stealing as much as fast as they can on the way down, knows that the combination of economic decline and climate change will eventually, and they're running scenarios, I can assure you, in the NSA and everywhere else, they know that eventually there will be blowback. Eventually people will respond. And they want the powers to, in essence, criminalize any form of dissent. And that's what this is about. Attempting to legally justify torture, they're essentially looking for kind of legal cover. And so I think it's all connected. It's all a part of this very rapid descent into a frightening form of corporate totalitarianism. And that is just writ large across the landscape. And as we go down, and they know we're going down. Look, I mean, you know, these forces are cannibalistic. 40% of the summer Arctic sea ice melts, and here we are literally watching the death throes of the planet, and these corporations like Shell look at it as a business opportunity. They know only one word, and that's more. They have commodified everything. Human beings are commodities, disposable commodities. The ecosystem is a disposable commodity, and they will put, now with no impediments, they will push and push and push. It makes Herman Melville's Moby Dick, which I'm just rereading, the most prescient study of the American character, because we're all on the Pequot. And Ahab's running the ship. And as Ahab said, my means and my methods are sane, and my object is mad. And they're not going to stop themselves. The formal mechanisms of power are not going to stop them. It's up to us. And literally, you know, I have a 5-year-old, and his favorite book is Out of the Blue. He'll sit on the floor and look at narwhals and porpoises, and every time I see him do it, it rips my heart out. Because I know that if there is not a radical change in our relationship to each other and to the planet, every single one of those sea creatures will be dead within his lifetime.